I'm so grateful. So please stand on up, join our song leaders in our beautiful song.
Please join in the hand raising too.
Gratitude to the grateful Capistrano Valley Church of, I want to say religious science, sorry. Because that's what I remember. Welcome. My name is Arpad Petros. I'm a staff minister here. And I'm delighted to see everybody. Whatever you may have done last week, it's okay, because you're welcome here. Whatever you did or didn't do last night, you're welcome here. This is a trans-denominational church. We honor all religious beliefs, and our core belief is God, love, family, and community. So if you're here for any of those reasons, yahoo! Let's get this clam bake going here. All right, we're going to start out by reading out the Flames of Faith, and we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Like that little guy in the front row, he's full of spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, and we will honor that here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by a sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance, the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As practitioner Pam lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And if you would join me in a prayer and an affirmation, centering the connection of your heart. And just know with me right here and right now that there's only one God, there's only one presence, there's only one consciousness. And we call that God, Spirit. We are connected to that divinity through our intentions, through our hearts, through ourselves. There has been so much going on in our little homeland of Southern California last week. And I just want everyone to open their hearts and know that they can make a difference, they can make a change, they can contribute to the goodness, the healing, the welfare, the joy, and the support of all those people that may have needed comfort this week. And know with me that Mother Earth is crying, and we need to respond. We need to take care of ourselves, our planet, our universe. And we can only do that through our intentions. And our intentions are holy, our intentions are sacred, our intentions are powerful because we are connected to God. And I release this to the universe knowing that it will be so. And together we say, so it is. And Mr. Patrick will read an affirmation. Yes, sir? Here you go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So join with me in consciousness, and we should have it up on the screen here. The Declaration of Principles. I believe in God, the one creator intelligence, operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe the perfect Spirit operates upon the law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe the perfect intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is. Affirmation for today. I look beyond appearances to see the wholeness of every being in every situation, and from there I act with love, compassion, and wisdom, and so it is.
Thank you, Patrick. And please welcome Melissa Suzanne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This song is called Step Into Love, and it goes directly in alignment with what the affirmation was today. It's about a choice, and we choose to make that in our life every day. And I'll have you sing, Step into love. Step into love. Sing that with me. Step into love. And we're going to come around again. We'll sing it 3 more times. We say, step into love. All right, let me hear it. Step into love. One more time. Step into
didn't look very clear the other way. Good morning. And thank you, Melissa. It was absolutely wonderful. Good to hear you and see you again. So the rest of this month, you know, last week we were finishing up our commitment experiment, and the rest of this month is freedom from terror. Freedom from terror and fear. And so my topic today is fear and punishment. And it comes directly from an essay that Ernest Holmes wrote in Living the Science of Mind. And I'd like to just start with a quote from that essay, because Ernest, I think this is a really important thing he says. He says, the psychologist will tell you that your fear is a phobia. The psychiatrist will tell you that your fear is a neurosis. But I tell you that fear is simply you learning something to be afraid, and the same creative mind that learned how to do that can learn how to have faith instead. The same mind that learned how to have fear can learn how to have faith instead. What a great place to start. Everything starts with us. Everything starts in mind. Our experiences start in mind. Someone asked me just before we started how was it for me, my first time voting? It was really, really great, and it was a lot of work. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to be so complex, and I had to do so much reading. It was a long time ago that I last voted in Canada, but I think what I remembered was their elections were very simple. It was like either yes or no for this one or that one. And this was like pages and pages and pages. And I did research. I read every single thing, and then the things that weren't on those papers, I searched on the internet. So I did my due diligence. And and I felt good about that. I felt like, okay, now I'm participating. And I felt good about my own participation. And I heard from other people, because we had class Tuesday night, that there were long lineups of people who were voting, and that pleases me. It pleases me that we're involved. It pleases me that we're involved. And Reverend Arpad was just praying about what's going on in Southern California in our country, and I want to just acknowledge that my teacher, Sue Rubin, lives in one of those areas that's been evacuated. And she wrote on Facebook this most wonderful post, so I'm going to read it to you because this is dealing from principle, even when you're in the midst of fear. And I thank you, Reverend Judy, because I wouldn't have even seen it if Reverend Judy hadn't done something, and then it came up, oh, did you see Reverend Judy's post on Sue Rubin's post? No, I didn't. So this is what Sue said. My second experience of being evacuated. First time from Granada Hills during the earthquake in the mid-70s, and now from Thousand Oaks fires. It's been a hell of a week in a bubble of safe suburbia. And then the bubble of complacency burst on Wednesday, a horrendous mass shooting at a local bar and grill, where I've danced many times. As many of you know, she loved to dance. She loves to dance. After midnight Thursday, I stood in my PJs in my bedroom, listening to a Ventura County emergency phone message that said, your neighborhood is under a mandatory evacuation. I froze. Surely not moi, and not here, and not now. Universal mind, through my thoughts, responded, move, get it together, and go. Finally, that signaled my most important course of action. Consciously breathe, treat, then move my feet. Where have I heard that before, I wonder? Got dressed, pulled an overnight bag out, accepted my son's groggy invitation to come to his place in the San Fernando Valley, and here I be. Suddenly, I'm a minimalist. With one change of clothes, one engagement ring, passport, birth certificate, toothbrush, and I have my magic face potion. out of the comfort zone, sleeping in my granddaughter's room, and sharing time and space with 4 people and 2 boxers. Glad to be alive, loved, safe, and feeling a persistent and haunting sadness at watching my beloved California hometown showing scorched lives, homes, and land. Can I hold firm to a greater idea? Yes, I am. Therefore, I can and I do. I remember there is one life. That life is God. That life is whole, complete, and perfect. It is forever my life, your life, and the only life there is. Jesus the Christ stood in the small boat, stretched out his hand to the angry sea and stormy sea, and proclaimed with spiritual authority, "Be still and know." I challenge myself and all of us to do this in even greater things, thereby causing our quiet divine mind to extinguish the winds, fires, and all human devastation in favor of a collective God is I am. Gratefully, that's the way I see. No one except it already is. Be safe, loving blessings galore, Sue Rubin. I tried to read it at the speed she would have been saying it because she talks very fast. But that is where we need to be able to go when we're startled into the awareness that there's something to fear. Someone's saying mandatory evacuation, go. A gunman comes in and starts shooting, dive, go. Look after yourself. But then back to the truth, the principle, which is everything starts from within. And the only thing that we need fear is fear itself. That fear itself will cause us to live small, insignificant lives. Lives that are not who we came here to be. We came here to be bold, to be that authority, to be God beings, and let our light shine. We came here to be peace beings and let our peace shine. And today is the day for us to do that. 100 years ago, in 5 minutes, 100 years ago, not only just today, but in 5 minutes, the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th month, they called an armistice, a peace of the Great War to end all wars. The Great War to end all wars. And as a child in Saskatchewan, every single November 11th, because we had school on November 11th, or if we didn't, on the 10th, we would all file into the auditorium and we would have a moment of silence. And every single one of us would have copies on to remember these men and women. And of course, we were all too young to remember anyone in the First War, but we certainly knew people that were in the Second World War. And I was reading an article in the Christian Science Monitor, which I highly recommend. If you're wondering which news can you trust, the Christian Science Monitor is the least biased liberally or conservatively. It's going to tell you the facts. And it had an article written by 8 different writers from the perspective of 8 different countries about today, about Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, as we call it in Canada. And the point is that from the moment that that war ended, the world complexion changed. The world changed. Russia became the Soviet Union. Now they're back to Russia. But the whole world changed. Changed borders. It changed its perspective about what it valued and what could happen. Canada was a very small country, and Canada went to war along with all of the other the other aspects of the empire, because Great Britain, we were part of Great Britain, we did not decide to go to war. We went to war because Great Britain declared war in 1914. And Canadians, Patrick was telling me before service that many Americans who wanted to support that effort went to Canada to fight with Canada before the United States entered that war. Very, very brave people, and using 17th century tactics with 20th century equipment. So it was pretty horrendous, and we've all seen that it was not the war to end all wars, because we've had, from what I can see, nothing but war since then. But here's the thing, could we, right now, as Reverend Harp had this wonderful meditation, what is yours to do today? What is yours to do today? And it seems to me that at the very least we could decide to lay down our own weapons of war in our own homes, to declare that this is a peace zone, that this is a place, this place right here, and this place right here, this community, where we're safe to be ourselves, where we welcome different opinions. Because if everybody was of the same opinion, we would be in a very, very difficult and dangerous place, where we welcome various perspectives, where we could say, I've never thought of it that way before, and perhaps grow, perhaps have a greater experience. I'm reading a wonderful book right now. It's called The 12 Rules for Life, The Antidote to Chaos, written by a psychologist called Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson is Canadian, but don't hold that against him. He's brilliant. It's a New York Times bestseller. He's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And the chapter I just read, I loved. It was rule number 9, I think, but it might be 10. I know some of you are reading this too. It's always tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Always tell the truth, or at least don't lie. And the thing is, this is really important for us as metaphysicians, that the importance of truly telling the truth to ourselves, keeping our word to ourselves, being willing to stand on our values, our principles, regardless of what's going on around us, to tell the truth. There's a danger in lying, because it's easy to make those little white lies, but you know there's something within you that signals. It tells you, oh, you didn't quite believe that one, did you? I can feel it right here. I can feel it right here when I'm not telling the truth. It doesn't feel very powerful. It feels powerful to tell the truth. It feels so good to admit making mistakes when I make them. And remember, this is one of the greatest spiritual practices. I don't know and I don't care. I don't know and I don't care. It's really important that we let stuff go, that we take ourselves lightly, This month's Sides of Mind magazine has on the cover features a woman of great spiritual substance, Malala Yousafzai. Her last name I never get right, but anyway, ends with Z-A-I. Anyway, Malala. Malala was a girl in Pakistan who believed that girls should have an education. Her dad was a teacher and he had a school for girls, but then the Taliban, who controlled that part of Pakistan, made it illegal for girls to go to school, to be educated. And she, at 11 years old, didn't like that at all. And she wrote a blog that went viral. It was being published in Great Britain. Anonymously, of course. She is 11 years old and she's a child. She's a child living in a dangerous place in Pakistan. But the Taliban found out it was her, where she lived, and they made death threats to her. But she continued to write the blog anyway because it was her value. Education for all was her value. It was what she stood for. And so one day, a masked gunman, by this time she was 15 years old, a masked gunman came onto her school bus and asked, "Where is Malala?" And I think she identified herself, but nevertheless, he came in and shot her in the head. And she lived. She woke up in Great Britain. She had, it took her a long time to recover, but she was the youngest ever nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And she speaks all over the world about the necessity of this message, that all people deserve an education, regardless of gender. Everybody deserves to be educated. What a powerful lesson. That, and she says in this article, which comes from her book, I Am Malala, sometimes she'll be standing and there'll be some angry looking man in her audience and she feels a little bit afraid. And she tells herself, Malala, you can handle this. You've already been shot at. You've already been shot in the head. You can handle these angry men that are standing here in this. And you know, that's a very good spiritual practice. Whatever is the worst thing that we could think could happen, if it's already happened, just tell ourselves the truth. Well, it's already happened. You already made a fool of yourself. You already have said these things, or whatever it is that's going to support you in living from that place of fearlessness. And as Dr. Holmes says, if you've taught yourself to be afraid, you can also teach yourself to be filled with faith. Because when you're filled with faith, there is no fear. It's just love. All you feel is love. So I think that this is a wonderful day to not only share a blessing for all of those whose homes are in danger, for all of those who lost their lives from a senseless act of violence, from all of those that have lost faith for any reason. And I know there are many. I'm not as naive as I sound. I know there are many reasons to lose faith. I'm with you. I'm one of you. I've been tempted myself. In fact, I did a really dumb thing this last week. I binged on this last season of House of Cards. It's terribly dark. I would not recommend it to anyone, even you guys. Too late, right? It's very dark. It is not what I wanted to plant in my mind. But I have a mind like I wish it was like a steel trap, but I have a mind that just grabs on to those fascinating things, and it just won't let go. So I'm telling you, no, I'm not going to recommend this. I think it would be way better if I'm watching Parks and Recreation, or just something that I could just laugh at, instead of terrifying myself. And yeah, and setting something in my subconscious about the trustworthiness of our government officials, which is what that story is about, in case you didn't know. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? When we know that what we believe with conviction comes to pass. Wouldn't it be much better for me to put all of my faith in that everything is God in expression and calling forth to see the good in everything, to call forth to see the good in the wildfires. Certainly, it's easy to see it in the firefighters who so bravely are risking their own lives for people that many of them haven't evacuated. It makes their jobs really hard. And to see it in everything. That's what we're here to do. To be that place of grace and goodness and well-being that says, no, I do not believe in fear, I believe in faith. I do not believe there's punishment except a consequence. So punishment is just a natural consequence of mistaken thinking. It's just a thought, and thoughts can be changed. It's just a thought, and thoughts can be changed. Besides Malala, I was thinking this morning of Anne Frank, and of all of the people throughout my life that have inspired me. But here's a 12-year-old girl that wrote that beautiful diary when there was no hope. And then I've been thinking about the fears that you have. And all I can say is that together we will stand, together we will stand for peace, for wholeness, for love, for well-being, and we'll look after each other, first of all in prayer and consciousness, and then if need be, we will take action to support people who are experiencing the results of fear. When Arpad was doing his meditation, I know many of you were not in here, he asked us to listen to the voice for God within us about what is ours to do. What is yours to do? Well, I don't know. I can't answer for you. But I can tell you, my first one is always tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Always tell the truth, or at least don't lie, because that is the solid foundation upon which I stand. Telling the truth so that I can be transparent and authentic and let my light shine as much as it can. I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for your faith. I'm grateful for your courage and for your conviction. We are blessed and we are a blessing, and so it is.
So it is.
And I'm going to pray. And this is what I know is true, 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 true. I know that there is only one life, and that life is God's life. That life is whole, complete, and perfect. That presence is creative mind, and it's forever saying yes to everything I'm convinced of. So, knowing my oneness with this thing itself, that is love, whose nature is love. I speak this word for each one of us. I speak it in the first person, with conviction and with gratitude. I know that I am enough and that there is enough. I am enough because I hold that beloved truth that God is all, and I steadfastly look for the good everywhere. I look for the good, first of all, within myself. And I stop making war. I make peace instead, first of all, with myself. And then with anyone else that I have offended, disappointed, angered, I make amends. I tell the truth, and I tell it with love and kindness. I know that this day is a day of new beginnings. It's a day of goodness and well-being, a day of optimism and hope. For when two or more are gathered together in the name of that Christ consciousness, we are all power, and all the power there is right here in this room. So what I know is that each one of us is here on purpose. We're here to see and to validate each and every person. I know that that beloved presence glorifies itself in every act of love, in every act of community, in every act of conviction, in every great response, in every fearless action, and every fearless reaction. God is the I am. And so with my heart filled with gratitude, knowing that only good is befalling us, I simply place this word in the action of law. I know it's complete, it's done. I'm so grateful. And please help me anchor it by saying with me, and so it is. And now, Melissa Suzanne.
When you're down in trouble and need some love and care, and nothing, oh, nothing is going right. You just close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there to brighten up even the darkest night. And you just call out my name, and you know wherever I am that I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of clouds, and that whole north wind begins to blow, you just keep your hand together and call my name out loud. And soon I'll be there, knocking at your door. And you just call out my name,
Thank you, Melissa. I love that. If the stewards would please come forward, it's time for us to share our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. And we have a new, I don't know what it is, I've forgotten what it is. Okay. So what we do is we read our prosperity affirmation together, and then we take a few seconds to be grateful for all of our good. And then we follow that up by singing the chant, I am so blessed. And then Diane's going to complete that by giving yet another gift. So let's read our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
And so it is.
Blue.
let's have our veterans stand so we can give you all a round of applause. You have made a difference in the observation of all the people that were here. Survived, came back, and are part of our community. This is a time to acknowledge those of you who are in service, but I want to do it a certain way. I want to first of all acknowledge the team that did our Courageous and Conscious Connections, and they're not all here, but I'm going to call their names. I want them to stand. If Reverend Patty is not here, Reverend Judy Chapman, Reverend Karen Allen, Reverend Bruce Krenberg, Julie, I don't see Julie Isola, and Reverend Carla. And then all of the people that were in any of the sacred circles, would you please stand up and be acknowledged? If you attended, if you hosted, if you were there, every single one of us made a difference by studying that curriculum and being part of that. So thank you for everything you give and for all the love you share. Now, the people who are in service today, if you are a volunteer here today or a practitioner here, would you please stand so we can give you a lot of love. Who you are makes a difference, and the practitioners would remain standing. Practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer. And if you want your lives to be transformed, make an appointment to see one of these wonderful people. You'll be so happy you did. To get a taste of it today, just a short time, the people in service today are Pamela Rock, Aidan Greeley, Patrick Freeman, and Hans Smith. Let's acknowledge our practitioners. And if you're visiting us for the very first time, we're so happy that you were here. And we have a little gift for you, and all you need to do is indicate that you're that person that's here for the first time by standing up or waving your hand. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. So you're going to, if you keep standing, you're going to receive a little gift bag. And it has some, back here at the back, it has some information about us and a welcome card. And if you fill out the welcome card and take it to the bookstore, you'll receive another gift. We're going to affirm you if you can just take in our energy. So please repeat after me. Welcome to our center.
Welcome to our center.
We know that you're a brave and courageous being.
We know that you're brave and creative.
And you've blessed us with your presence. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you to each of our guests. And now, we have some announcements.
Good morning.
Watson, the game's afoot.
What have you been able to discover, Holmes?
My analysis of the declination of the carpet fibers in this room indicates that a circle of chairs is placed here and here on a regular basis, and the fading pattern shows that it is every Sunday from 12 to 12:30.
Interesting. Almost like they're trying to consciously connect with one another.
Quite. But the extra marks from the carpet sweeper suggest they did not convene last Sunday.
Perhaps they were all on holiday picnic.
Unlikely, but possible. The depth of the carpet indications also suggest that only adults are convening in the circle.
Meaning that childcare must be provided.
Yes. I've always said that mediocrity knows nothing higher than itself, but talent instantly recognizes genius.
That's good, because Wednesday's Wisdom features that genius Reverend Patty Mercado. She is presenting a most curious topic. Fulfillment in going without. Highly improbable.
Well, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however probable, must be the truth.
And that same woman is leading a parent forum on Wednesday the 14th.
Which is good, as the lowest and vilest alleys in London do not present a more dreadful record of sin than does the smiling and beautiful countryside.
Thus the forum. It is free to attend, but space is limited. A light lunch and childcare are provided.
No man burdens his mind with small matters unless he has some very good reason for doing so.
The children, while small, are not small matters. In fact, they have scheduled a play group called Kids' Day Out on Tuesdays from 9:30 to 12:30 in our youth rooms for children ages 2 and older.
I know, my dear Watson, that you share my love of all that is bizarre and outside the conventions of humdrum routine of daily life.
Well, Holmes, you're in luck, as are all of our creative crafters. Our annual holiday boutique is coming up on Sunday, December the 2nd. Start making your beautiful creations now, so that you'll have plenty to display and sell at the boutique. Please sign up on the kiosk to reserve a display table and see Reverend Karen if you have any questions.
Have you created artwork for this boutique?
No, sorry, Holmes. I am simply your humble assistant.
Well, education never ends, Watson. It is a series of lessons with the greatest for the last.
Just like the curious case of the class in the nighttime.
Yes, Watson. Moriarty, or Dr. Heather, or whatever she's calling herself now, is gathering her nefarious minions every Tuesday evening.
I thought that was just a class called The Power of Your Word.
Ostensibly, she even went so far as to have it accredited by the Centers for Spiritual Living. But you know better.
But this same Dr. Heather is creating a Thanksgiving Eve celebration of gratitude. Surely even you can appreciate such a holy endeavor.
It is only goodness which gives extras, and so I say again that we have much to hope for from the flowers.
Some people, without possessing genius, have a remarkable power of stimulating it. In the same way that gratitude is a multiplier, our coming together to honor God as the source of our supply is also a multiplier.
What would you ask of me in attending such a gathering?
Only that you bring good tidings, a sense of thankfulness, and perhaps a dessert to share.
Taken separately, each of these incidents would hardly matter at all. But taken together, they seem to form a pattern of enlightenment.
I must say, Holmes, that your powers of deduction are unmatched. It's almost like this information was written out on a piece of paper in front of you.
You know my methods, Watson. These clues are so obvious, this information might as well be written in lights on the wall behind me. And now it's time for elementary school, dear Watson, while we bring in the children.